Yeah, so basically, um, I've been working, like, previously on these videos, this type of videos, I, you know, just talk about things that really annoyed me, and they weren't really, like a subjective opinion on a show on Netflix, or just, talking about some policy that will never be implemented. Um, yeah, no, this isn't about that. I've been working to make like a monthly summary of events, like political events. Um, and yeah, so basically, Trump made a new proposed peace deal, and I am not political. Like, I know that someone would call me a political person, but like, I am just objective. Yeah, so Trump has released a new peace plan. When I first saw, like, this was TLDR news video, I just thought, oh great, another nothing really mattering peace plan. And I was right, because everybody knows that no one will agree with that. So yeah, I just wanted to ramble and just um, scream at Trump for not understanding the conflict, despite that he actually met with people, with leaders of this nation in person. So, like, I understand the conflict more, I can confidently say that. So, Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed. This is the first, like, this was the first good sign that I've got from this. I thought to myself, this will be good. This will be good. This time good. Maybe he learned something after Putin didn't agree to anything he told him. But yeah. For now, let's just read the good part, because this is mainly the good part. I didn't yet read these because I was just fucking screaming from how egotistical and narcissistic he clearly is. No, really. In school we recently had like a lesson about narcissists, and he checks all the bars. Okay. So a comprehensive Sikh non-aggression agreement will be concluded between Russia, Ukraine, and Europe. All ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered settled. So this is like, you know, I forgot he actually put that in here, but this is quite a tall order. Like, you know, all ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered settled. Is that even English? Like, I don't know. This was published by the president, so I think yeah. Um, all ambiguities of the past 30 years will be considered settled. Yeah, that's just not so possible. Really, how? Like, how would you convince a Russian society that was brainwashed into thinking that Europe screwed them over and that capitalists and NATO have destroyed their lands for no reason? And how would you expect the government that brainwashed them to, you know, stop brainwashing them? And also, this is like so stupid. You know how much we promised Putin in in 2014, 2015, at the beginning of the war? He still did nothing, and he still invaded in 2022. Think, Trump, think. Use your brain at least once, or use whatever you have left from this brain after fucking being cleaned. It is expected that Russia will not invade neighboring countries and NATO will not expand further. Um, yeah. NATO will not expand further. That is like, really, you want to limit your sphere. Maybe, he like feels that NATO in Europe has become more a European defense pact than his defense pact, like, US defense pact. No, the US tool to expand its hegemony further, so maybe he like doesn't want Europe expanding, maybe this is what he tries to say here. Okay, so the the dialogue will be held between Russia and NATO, mediated by of course mediated by the United States, which I might remind you is a part of NATO. This is like this is like, Britain in the middle of World War One proposing that a peace talks will be mediated between the Allies and the Central Powers, mediated by Great Britain. This is like so dumb. To resolve all security issues and create conditions for de-escalation in order to ensure global security and increase opportunities for our cooperation and future economic development. Sunshine and rainbows. Under the totalitarian dictatorship of Putin, Ukraine will receive reliable security guarantees. Thanks, Trump. You see, this is what I thought. This was the second sign that this was going to be good. So yeah, the size of Ukraine will be limited to 600,000. This is the first track. 600,000. I actually googled. It was. How was it? Personal I remember it was like 9. Holy shit, wait. Do you really recognize it as the same armed forces? Well, maybe you know. Budget. Foreign. Military aid. Percent of GDP, holy shit, alright. Military ranks of Ukraine. There is no personnel. How do you get your AI response? I know that AI is the worst source you could get, but personal side of the Ukrainian Russia versus Ukraine. And actually I hope they don't stuck it under the paywall. Estimated available manpower. Russia, Ukraine. Active soldiers, yeah, 900,000. So yeah, that was longer than it should. So limited to 600,000. Trump, what are you playing? Like, I know that Putin wants demilitarization, but this is clearly just, a preparation for another invasion where Ukraine won't have that. For now, he just prolongs war because he has delusions of breakthrough. So, the Ukraine agrees to enshrine in its constitution that it will not join NATO. Yeah, you expect the Ukrainian parliament to pass it, right? Good luck with that. And NATO agrees to include in its status provisions that Ukraine will not be admitted in the future. You know who will not agree, who won't agree to that? Basically all of Europe. So NATO agrees not to station troops in Ukraine Yeah, because you know, Europe will always listen to me. I am the king of the world. I am the king of Europe. I am the king of America. I can poop on people from my jet because I am the king. He's so clearly just egoist piece of shit. Like this thinking that Europe will just capitulate to your terms is just so stupid. Like I know you may have like a delusion of your invincibility, but that deal with the von der Leyen that you did this year wasn't really that, you know, impressive. Like if you look at it from, you know, logical point of view, because well, she probably knew that the European Parliament and any really other European nation will not agree to that. So yeah, European fighter that will be stationed in Poland. I think that this is to the recent incident that happened when, you know, 20 Russian drones entered Polish airspace. So yeah, they already are, Trump. What are you doing? I don't know, if I was the president of the most powerful country in the world, I would probably do my research properly and know that Italian and Dutch fighter jets were stationed in Poland and helped to shoot down these drones. But what do I know? No, like, I am not the God Emperor of the world. Like, you know. US guarantee. The US will receive compensation. Okay, I did not. I don't remember reading that, or at least it just went over my head, but holy shit, bro. Ah, yes. Ukraine will pay reparations to USA for the war on that it was like invaded by. This is so Trump-like, you know. Why? Just like I bet that people would actually agree that yes, Ukraine must repay reparations to the US. Bro, have your 20% of the population, no, of the territory was taken. I don't remember the percent of population. Did your people die? Did you lose like 20% of your people? This is just like my estimation of the top of my head. They probably lose more or less. So you know. No? Then shut the fuck up. If Ukraine invades us, it will lose its guarantee, of course. If Russia, in addition to a decisive coordinated military response, will be strengthening ammunition, and all other benefits of the deal will be revoked. So basically, USA will stop recognizing Russian control of this. If Ukraine launches missile at Moscow, signs the security will. I don't know what he like meant by that. Why would Ukraine launch a missile on Moscow and St. Petersburg during peace? They wouldn't want to provoke Russia. Russia would want to provoke Ukraine. Ukraine is eligible for EU membership, and it will receive a short-term preferential access to the European market while this issue is being considered. That's actually quite a good, you know, this was actually one of the next signs that it would be good. A powerful global package of measures to rebuild Ukraine, including but not limited to the creation of the Ukraine Development Fund to invest in fast-growing industries, including technology, data centers, and artificial intelligence. Yeah, just give Ukraine artificial intelligence drones, baby. The United States will cooperate with Ukraine to join the will cooperate with Ukraine because you know, like we cooperated with Iraq and all these other nations that we aren't totally screwing over right now. Okay, maybe we were screwing them over, not right now. Yeah, this is totally not like, you know, the banana republics of the 50s and 60s. Yeah, totally no. Oh, no. This is a mutual cooperation between Ukraine and America. Jointly build, modernize, and operate Ukraine's gas infrastructure, including pipelines and storage facilities. Meanwhile, who owns this? Elon Musk, 100%. Joint efforts to rehabilitate war-affected areas for the restoration, reconstruction, and modernization of cities and the residential areas. This is good. Infrastructure development, extraction of minerals. Yo! Refuses to elaborate. Uh, I'm totally not colonizing Ukraine. Trust me, bro. The World Bank will develop a special funding to accelerate these efforts. Is good. Will be reintegrated. This is when I realized while reading this. He doesn't want a new peace, a new world. He wants to just come back to the how it was in the 90s. Just we've got like friendly, um, puffy guy that leads Russia. Well, yeah, he has dictatorial preferences, but he's generally pretty cool to be around. Um, no, this isn't Putin. You can't reintegrate him into the global economy because that's why you will give him a sign. Oh yeah, um, you can attack whoever you want. Just remember, you will have just sanctions. Then China will help you, but then you can be integrated into global economy. Who cares? The lifting consumption agreed upon in stages and case of high case basis. Yeah, he wants to Europe to agree to that. The United States will enter into a long-term economic cooperation. Oh, long-term economic cooperation agreement for mutual development in areas of energy, natural resources, infrastructure, artificial data centers, rare earth metal extraction projects in the Arctic. Basically, Putin, please give me the Arctic. I totally. This when I realized that he is a bitch. Like not that he's a bitch because he's a bitch in general, but that he's a bitch in this fucking thing. Russia will be invited to join the G8. Um, I don't think that Europe will agree to that, so I don't think this is really a problem. Frozen funds, of course, Europe and Ukraine won't agree to that deal. You know, what I've noticed about Trump is that he kind of like treats Europe as his own domain, which is totally not the case. Like he makes these deals, he meets with Putin, and yet nothing actually happens because like Europe and Ukraine won't agree to that. We just won't. And he has to accept it, that he has to cooperate with rest of the West, not treat him as his domain, because he was elected by the electors that were loosely elected by the people of some most powerful nation in the West and the world, but still not the entire West and the world. The US will receive 5 of the profits from this venture. Yeah! Europe will add 100 billion to increase the amount of investment available for Ukrainian construction. I actually don't know what he means by 50% of the profits. Like 50% of shares, like they get. So basically, the USA will own 50% of Ukraine, baby. Money. Yeah, this is so stupid. Like imagine. Ah, yeah, you also have to give up 50% of your country, your most industrious region, because he like says that Ukraine will have to give up Donetsk, which is, yeah, Donbass, sorry. Increase amount of investment for Ukraine, the remainder of them will be invested into separate US that will joint projects in specific area aimed to strengthening coordination and increasing community strength, blah blah blah. A joint American-Russian working group on security to promote the ensure compliance with provisions of this agreement. This is like, this weird movement for peace in the 90s, which was really only the 90s it really mattered. Now it just doesn't after the invasion. Russia will enshrine in its law policy of non-aggression towards Europe and Ukraine. This is when I cracked. You expect a nation that spent decades just going all around and saying, "Oh, we will totally invade Europe. Oh, look, you promised me appeasement. I promise you that I will attack you," and all these things, like enshrining this in their propaganda. You expect this nation to enshrine in law a policy of non-aggression towards Europe and Ukraine that they don't even consider a proper nation? This is like, you know, I know I'm giving here a trenches then, but this is like US just decided to recognize Al Qaeda as a nation from Russian perspective, obviously. This is like it. The United States and Russia will agree to extend the validity of treaties on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, including the START 1 treaty. Yeah, so this is, you see, this is the next that he wants, the next argument. He just wants to come back to status quo. And like, this is so stupid because both Russia and the USA broke the treaties because they had to guarantee Ukrainian independence, and they don't. So yeah. Oh, Ukraine agrees to be a nuclear state. No, you literally broke the treaty. I mean, Biden broke the treaty, but you would do it anyway. So you know there is really no difference. So no, Ukraine broke the treaty. It shouldn't agree to anything that you say about a nuclear. Even, you know, even if European leaders will say that I am not like a full-blown European federalist that just wants to, that just will listen to everything that European leaders will say, I have my own views. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant will receive Ukraine 50-50. Both countries undertake to implement educational programs in schools and society and promoting understanding and tolerance of different cultures and eliminating racism and prejudice. Okay, this is like saying to Nazi Germany, "Hey, can you please stop teaching children that we need to kill all the Jews?" "Yeah, thanks." Why? Why are you doing this? Like, I know, to get the Nobel Peace Prize because he's so narcissistic that he thinks he should have it. Ukraine will adopt EU rules on religious tolerance and protection of minorities. Both countries will agree to abolish all discriminatory measures and guarantee the rights of Ukrainian and Russian media and education. All Nazi ideology must be rejected and prohibited. Well, you know, that is quite a good provision, but like really. No, like look at Russia. It writes books where literally, a Russian soldier teleports back in time, takes control of the German Reich, allies with the Soviet Union, and then conquers the West. So, yeah, that would be quite a necessary provision. Ukrainian forces will withdraw from the part of Donetsk Oblast that they currently control. This withdrawal zone will be considered a neutral demilitarized buffer zone internationally recognized as the territory belonging to the Russian Federation. Russian forces will not enter this demilitarized zone. So you basically say that. Yeah. So Ukraine, please give up your biggest industrial region that Russia already occupies in like 60%, no, 75%. Yeah, no. How about they won't? After agreeing on future territorial arrangements, both the Russian Federation and Ukraine undertake not to change these agreements by force. Any security guarantees will not apply in the event of breach of this commitment. Russia will not prevent Ukraine from using the Dnieper River for commercial activities, and agreements will be reached on free transport of grain across the Black Sea. That is good. A humanitarian committee will be established to resolve outstanding issues. That is Also a good provision. And you know, it's like so basic to peace treaties. All remaining prisoners' bodies will be exchanged on all-to-all basis. All civilians, detainees and hostages will be returned, including children. A family reunification program will be implemented. Yeah, you know that's impossible because like he already, by he I mean Putin, kidnapped thousands of children from their homes and just give them Russian citizenship and just put them into Russian families. So no, this literally won't happen. Like Russia will just, even if this happens, which in no way no one would agree to that. Russia just won't. Measures will be taken to elevate the suffering of victims of. Yeah, maybe. Ukraine will hold elections in 100 days. I agree to that. 26. All parties involved in this conflict will receive full amnesty for their actions during the war and agree not to make any claims or consider any complaints in the future. Will receive full amnesty! Oh my god. Oh, this is the one that broke me and gets me to make this. The agreement will be legally binding. Its implementation will be monitored and granted by the Peace Council, headed by the President Donald J. Trump. Sanctions will be imposed for violation. I can just imagine him, writing this down and, headed by the President Donald Trump. Oh, I am so smart. I can resolve a conflict that lasted for decades, and I don't even understand what the conflict is about. Ah! Once all parties agree to this memorandum, the ceasefire will take effect immediately after both sides agree to agree points to begin implementation of the agreement. Okay, so I heard that Europe made a counter peace plan, Europe and Ukraine, and that Zelensky met with. I got distracted. European, I mean Trump, and that he agreed because obviously it was. No, there was something that he agreed, like in these weird things that I forgot the name of in English. But he didn't. They made a counter peace plan, including just 18 points, and you know, nobody will agree to that eventually. So just Trump screaming into the void about how he's great and how he can, get the Nobel Peace Prize, which he can. And like Reagan, this Nobel Peace Prize will be for no reason. Because remember, Reagan also supported terrorists that later helped people who made 9/11. So, uh, thank you, Reagan. You really deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. But yeah, Trump doesn't understand the conflict. He clearly doesn't understand it. This is a conflict where a fascist state tries to conquer people that it considers to be its own people. You know, from pure theoretical perspective of Russians, Putin doesn't conquer Ukraine. Putin doesn't conquer Ukraine. Putin conquers Russians that were how brainwashed. I don't have any other word to think that they are Ukrainians. And Belarusians are just Russians, and now they are basically Russian. Like, literally. The colonization of Belarus is just so scary. They Russians literally have majority of people are a majority of people in Belarus. This is so scary. And Trump, he just wants to come back to this simpler time when Russia and Europe used to be peaceful, and we all thought that the world will be peaceful forever. Oh, my parents actually said they remember those times, and that they were also hopeful. But unlike Trump, they moved on, and I know that Trump thinks like says this because he only wants to make a good deal because he treats United States as the biggest company in the world. But there's just no coming back. You know how much we promised Putin, but he still did not back down. You know why? Because he's a fascist. He's a totalitarian fascist. And Trump and conservatives don't understand that. And also it's that conservatives and centrists don't care about, you know, okay, maybe it's like not a bipartisan issue, but uh, people don't really care about people. Like, when they all discuss these statistics of migration and this, job market and house prices, they don't really think about the people that are coming in, which are just ordinary people looking for help in a world that destroyed their homes, in a place that doesn't have any walls and is lives in happiness or should live in happiness. And this is the same with Ukraine. People just die there because Putin just kills these people, ordinary people, for no reason, and they only talk about the economy. Oh, the Ukraine must repay us because we spend like 3 trillion on them. Okay, maybe 1.5 because it's basically spread equally. Oh, all Ukrainian civilians must return to a broken by war country because in other times, I don't know, conservatives will get mad. This is just so bad, honestly. And then, just give these lands to Russia. They will deport all Ukrainians, make my lives even more miserable than they are now. And he just goes with it. Like, just give more power to the totalitarian dictatorship. Holy shit, bro. This is what I hate about modern politics. They don't treat this as a moral fight. They treat it as just, I don't know, business. Which is so stupid. Okay, I need to end.